So Angelina Jolie decides to sell her half of the winery to Brad Pitt's competition, an enemy. And now she's complaining that he's suing her? We brought Christopher Melcher back to try to make sense out of all this craziness. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and Angelina Jolie is whining some more in the press. Wah! Christopher, thank you for alerting us of this follow-up. Our last video did a lot of attention. I think people were starting to really see the truth behind this battle. And when we reported on this earlier, I know you remember it. The Angelina Jolie stands are pretty vicious. But since this last post, are you starting to notice people out there finally coming around and maybe looking at, yeah, it's time to move on? Have you seen any of the feedback?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's great that each side of this fight has passionate people supporting them, and that's awesome. My thing is just like, hey, go and don't just read the headline. Try to read the papers if you can, or look at various sources to get the full picture of it, rather than just saying, hey, I'm team this person or team that person. But, definitely we've seen some really nasty stuff happening from one side of this. And again, you and I are just trying to get the information out there. We're not necessarily trying to take anybody's side.
Well, I was trying to find the specific tweet because I saw a few of them, but let's confirm it. Are you on Brad Pitt's payroll, Christopher? Because a lot of Angie stans were out there just completely disregarding you and I, saying, oh, they're on his payroll. Can we confirm, are you on Brad Pitt's payroll?
No, I have never received a dime from him or any of his representatives. I have no financial stake in any of this. And again, I'm just trying to get the truth out there as I understand it. And, this is probably against my self-interest because, you see all the backlash and stuff, and it would be easier for me to say nothing. But when to see the continual attacks by Angelina against Brad that I believe are unfounded and are inconsistent with her own statements, that's why I am speaking out. And Brad has not really said much, really of anything outside of court. So I'm just trying to state my view on things, and I believe it's informed because I've followed the case since the beginning, including reading the court documents. And if anyone, wants to challenge what I have to say, then I suggest, going and getting those court documents and make their own video.
Yeah, I'd love it. Come challenge us for sure with whatever proof we're missing. I mean, and I think it's a testament to you of any celebrity should be calling up Mr. Melcher, because you get it. You're trying. This is not a good look for Angelina Jolie. Now, I get it. In these battles you have to fight with celebrity clients, I imagine it's tougher. Sometimes you can't get your clients to do the right thing, and you got to do what they want. You work for them. But in the sake of celebrity, there's a lot of PR and backlash and things that can backfire. And I sense that's what's happening now with Jolie. She may have won the battle a little bit in the beginning, but at the end of the day, I just don't think this is actually working for her. And now here is the latest in an exclusive with the Daily Mail. She's now accusing Brad Pitt of trying to bleed her dry in their ongoing bitter legal battle, despite him helping enrich his vengeful ex by close to $100 million. In new court documents obtained by Daily Mail, she claims Brad Pitt's lawsuit is an example of his efforts to control and financially drain her. The Hollywood star has bent over backwards to support Angie and help her out financially, Brad's allies say. But Jolie is now complaining and whining again. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I want your take, but didn't she pretty much cause this legal battle when she decided to give this winery that he clearly wanted to his competition, aka an enemy? How does one do that and not assume there's not going to be then legal repercussions and more strung out legal battles? And in doing so, do you feel like this is a fair complaint of Angelina to direct at Brad?
No, not at all. And, just for the background for folks who don't know it, Brad and Angelina had, their own separate interests in this winery in France. And, we call it the War of the Rosés here. And basically they had this thing together, and they held it in separate companies. And, there was an offer made by Brad to buy out her interest because Brad expressed, a desire to have 100% of it. And I don't know that Angelina had the ability to, maintain her half. So they're getting divorced. They need to also divide this business interest. And according to Brad, that he thought, there would be a deal and made an offer. And the next thing that he knows is that Angelina goes and sells the interest that she has to this Russian oligarch, very rich Russian gentleman who has a controlling interest in Stoli, so another alcohol related beverage company. So that just gets sold by Angelina without any knowledge of Brad. Angelina says, well, she had the legal right to sell, didn't need his permission. Even if that's true, that she can go and sell, it's really uncool to do without, really giving Brad the opportunity to buy. And then secondly, what does she expects going to happen? What does that buyer expects going to happen? They've made now Brad an involuntary partner with the Russian oligarch. And of course, it's gonna be result in litigation. The analogy that I give is imagine you and your partner own a home together, and you're breaking up, and then that partner just goes and sells their half of the interest in the home to a competitor, an enemy, somebody you don't want to have anything to do with, and then walks away, and then leaving you now with this co-owner that and you can't do a thing. You can't do a thing with this house until you now deal with that co-owner. And then your former partner says, oh, I can't believe, Brad is upset about this, and he's fighting me, and he's trying to bleed me dry, and I can't believe he's suing me. Well, this was anticipated that it would happen. It was anticipated that by Angelina, and it was certainly anticipated by the purchaser. No one's going to buy a 1/2 interest in a business without consent of the other business partner and expect that it's going to be smooth sailing. So it was a poison pill that she dropped on Brad. And then now he's just trying to gain control of this thing and not have this involuntary partner. And she's saying, I can't believe Brad's fighting me. That's why I think she's in the wrong on this one.
Well, that also in that, as the report continues, she's trying to say she's been bled dry, which, give me a break. Angelina Jolie is not broke. This idea that she's out there counting pennies is bizarre to me. And as they've done their own sort of homework, they just call BS on it, saying that her relationship with Pitt has helped to enrich her close to $100 million. The money comes through loans, child support, gifts, and the millions she's garnered from the sale of her 50% share in the property at the heart of the dispute, 10% of which was a gift from Pitt. The couple's former French home in Viner was worth $60 million when they bought it, and now it's worth a staggering $164 million. While she's crying poverty, her latest court filings, sources close to Pitt point out that Tomb Raider star has sufficient funds to sign a recent deal to take over this unique space in Manhattan that previously rented for $60,000 a month. So this implication that she's being bled dry is quite misleading, I think, and frustrating. And again, once again, shows the PR tactics that her team seem to be doing. I mean, I want to play both sides. We're not in Brad Pitt's pocket. Could this be a attempt on Brad's team to try to paint the well? But I guess no. This is court filings from her. This is even like this is leaked stuff that maybe isn't even actually coming from her. These are apparently in court filings where she's claiming this. I mean, this is a bad look for her, is it not? Or do you think there's a legal precedent in her favor here?
Well, so, she may have had the right to sell. And that's what's unfortunate about it is that, when I look through, and these companies were established, outside of the US. And when I looked at the initial paperwork, I couldn't find a clear indication that, that she needed his consent. Many times that would be in there. And so she may be legally correct that she could sell. And if she had the legal right to do so, okay, fine, go ahead and do what you're going to do, but don't try and flip the narrative on Brad and express surprise that he's upset about it, especially when he had offered to buy it from her, and he certainly has the wherewithal to do it. And so my take on it is that she may be legally right, but morally wrong, because he did make the offer. And when he's pointed out, is like, I was prepared to buy that. She has now come up with what I call a pretext or an excuse to justify why she rejected his offer and sold it to this other person. And I think it's to create chaos, to create conflict, to hurt Brad. And then when Brad does anything to defend himself, she comes back and says, I'm the victim. He's hurting me again. And we saw in the last video that, she's bringing up claims of things that she claims happened, 10 plus years ago. Okay, so how does that relate to her decision to sell this interest to
Right.
this other person? It doesn't. It's not logically connected. And whatever their motivations are don't really matter in terms of a court case. It's just, did she have the legal right to sell? Yes or no? That's probably the pivotal question in that case.
Do you think the judge is going to see through this victim crying and nonsense and eventually do that? Or is this ultimately she's allowed to sell? It is what it is. I mean, what do you think in your final thoughts here, what do you think is going to happen in the outcome for Brad?
Well, I mean, this is hard. It's going to be a long, long time. I mean, we're talking probably years potentially for this to be resolved. So it's very difficult to know what's going to happen. Hopefully some kind of resolution can be made, because if we wait, or they wait for the court to resolve it, that's really damaging to the operation of that business, the winery.
Which is probably her intent, right? It does seem like there's a lot of vengeance here, and that may be her choice to string this out and ruin it.
Well, that could be, and that's what's, it's predictable that that's what would happen. It would put Brad into a constant state of conflict with the Russian oligarch gentleman for years, and force him into court for years. So it's distasteful, and unfortunately, the court action, is going to move very slowly. That's just the nature of things, and so he may be forced to make a deal, because does he really want to spend years of his life fighting with this person? So we'll see, but certainly. A lot of these cases are being litigated here in the press. They're through these court filings, are basically press releases to kind of put their spin on what's happening.
Well, there you go. Make sure you follow Christopher Melcher over on Twitter at @CA_divorce. Always a pleasure. We'll keep you updated on this story and so much more. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts as well, and smash that like button. What do you think? Are you team Brad, team Angie? Are you frustrated this is still being strung out? And I just hearing that from Christopher makes me even more frustrated to hear that this could go out for years and he can't just continue to do his winery. Why can't she just move on? It's really disturbing. Stay tuned for more. We'll keep you posted. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Popcorn Planet.